the stars. That's where you are. That's where you are.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of StarCast. I'm Marguerite, one of your fabulous hosts. This is the other one, fabulous host.
Hey, I'm Andrew.
Hey, so on this episode, we're going to talk about kind of expansion of teams, adding new people onto your team, and how that's going for us personally. In the past, we've had like a lot of technical additions, like very, very talented people, like sound design, visual effects. We've always kind of struggled though in the department of like adding on another kind of producer type, director, first AD. It's always just been us. So we were really thrilled when we were able to meet this guy who's going to be with us today. His name is Justin Weber. If you want to introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, my name is Justin Blake Weber. I'm a director, I'm a producer, I'm a writer. I'm basically a jack of all trades. I've been doing this now for a few years. Kind of started mostly on my own, so I got to learn how to do everything really by myself, just like you guys, but you know, one instead of two. Aren't you guys lucky?
Yeah, right, yeah.
But primarily I run ZenithFilms Media out of Southeast Michigan, but now I'm going to be joining along with the Stargazer team, as well as they're going to be jumping on the Zenith team, and we're going to be kind of working as an amalgamation now, as opposed to, you know, these two warring factions.
Yes, we decided to come together in peace.
Yeah, from the very beginning, it just, there's so many different groups of filmmakers out there, and a lot of them are against each other. It just makes no sense. I'm so happy to have you on the team now and to be able to collaborate and be on the same side. And
Although I feel special.
but we're making cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to start off by talking about how we met and how we started working together.
That was through a very coincidental means of, I spotted, I think it was Abductions actually, that I was perusing around on Facebook. I was like, oh, this looks really fucking cool. I want to see, I want to know more about this. So I hit up the Stargazer page, and was actually, I didn't realize this until, was it a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
I was actually talking to you at first.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Had no freaking clue. And then the next thing I knew, you just randomly hit me up out of nowhere. We hit it off like that. And the next thing we knew, we were just like, yeah, we're going to work on all this crap together. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. I still don't fully understand how that one worked, frankly.
I mean, I think part of how we hit it off, so we both were at Grand Rapids Comic Con, and we, not Grand Rapids.
Motor City?
Not Motor City. No, it was the one where Nostalgia Critic.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, with the mystery machine.
Yeah. It's so weird because we must have actually like crossed paths at some point during that.
Yeah, I remember because it was Todd, Derek, and I that went that day.
But we just had like so much in common, and we hit it off quick. And then like we started working on our first project, Spider-Man, and that's one that you're directing for the Stargazer channel. So first, we are making a Spider-Man short, and Justin here is going to be the director on it.
Yes.
Well, technically, no. The very first thing we ever worked on together was actually How They Almost Got Him, because I hit you up in terms of just doing a little basic VFX, and then after that, we were like, do Spider-Man.
Yes.
That is true. Yeah.
Yes. No, yeah, and I've been on one I think shoot for Spider-Man so far. That was a lot of fun, but it's been mostly you two helming that, and I'm loving how it's coming together so far.
Yeah. It was an interesting project just because of with the whole quarantine thing and how that kind of dipped into things and made it a little bit more complicated. But it was during that project that I just realized that you really are a really talented director. Because like I like to stay in the DP realm. I love directing, but I also that was one that we really teamed up on because I wanted to shoot it visually. I had a vision in that direction, and I wanted to just be a DP. And it was when I built a lot of trust with you as a director. I really like how you work with actors.
Well, think about it, actually, we worked on 2 other projects together even before all that. We worked on 2 challenge videos. The vertical film.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? The time travel one. What was that called again? It was for Film Riot.
Oh, you were in that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Small World.
What was that called again?
It's on our channel. I really should know it, but it's been
really
it's been a little bit, yeah. But it was the Film Riot 1 minute quarantine challenge.
Project Backspace.
Backspace.
Yeah.
And that was the first project that we actually worked on together. That was because that was like dead quarantine. It was like everything was stopped completely.
Yeah, because you were messaging me about that a lot when all that was going down. You're just like, I want to do. I forget the exact, like, you had a much different idea before that, and I was kind of sitting there trying to, like, reel you in a little bit.
It's done pretty mildly well too. Well received on YouTube, and I really liked it. I didn't know you worked on that, but it makes sense
He was in it.
Oh, well, dang. I'll have to rewatch it. Like I said, it's a very funny introduction for me with you because, as I think we discussed this 2 weeks ago, during 2020, I took a break from filmmaking altogether because I was like, okay, the world shut down, I shut down, let's just reevaluate life a little bit. So I took a break, and then Andrew was like, I need something, which is a blessing in disguise to film with because then I remember receiving your message, and I remember forwarding it to Andrew, like, did you see this message from this guy? Who is this? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I think that's why you reached out to him. You continued the conversation. And then all of a sudden, like, months later, you're like, Justin's doing this, and we're going to do this with Justin. And I was like,
Yeah, we did not meet until Distortions. Literally, that night was the very first time you and I ever met or
and
talked.
I think you were like confused why I didn't know him because you're like, well, he was the guy who messaged us, and so I was like, it was a whole confusing thing. It was funny.
It's like it was one message at the beginning of 2020. I think that'd be kind of a random thing to remember somebody by. Just like, it's like, this is one random message. Do you remember that one random message? No, I don't remember that one random message, Andrew.
Yeah, but hey, that goes to show always shoot your shot because you put yourself out there, you meet cool people.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, and Spider-Man kind of is this interesting project because I would say it was way more like your company's Zenith-centric project, but then just as kind of time went on and after we got out of quarantine and like we were personally working on our Distortions project, like Spider-Man, at least like the short that we're doing,
the promotional thing,
it became a Stargazer project. Just to like get the thing done and off the ground.
Yeah, because the original idea is because Ryan Wilson originally brought that project up to me, and then we were hitting you up like, hey, do you want to get involved in this? And you're like, hell yeah, I do. And then we thought of and then you brought up was it called First Nights? Was the title?
Yes.
I can never remember for some reason.
Spider-Man First Night.
Then you brought up First Nights, like, yeah, we can do this, and put this on the Stargazer channel. I was like, that's totally fine. And then unfortunately, all falls down itself, kind of puttered out, unfortunately.
Yeah, but now we've picked it back up, and we're getting that
First
thing
Night's
done.
not the main project itself.
Oh.
That one's kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, but it really goes back to, I think, doing just a short contained like visual effects, cool little short is the best way to go, so that we can kind of pool our resources into making
The bigger things.
Yeah.
And segueing into that, it was kind of our first trial run of working with each other, like true trial run, because as us three are like our team and your team, like our people, because like that was another thing. It's like, will our people get together? And then my first time seeing that firsthand was on Wait for My Call, which was a ZenithFilms project. And can I say the title?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I just said it, so. All right, so Wait for My Call was the first ZenithFilms Media film that we just worked on where our people kind of collided.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that we all got along really well. So that was another big sign to me where I was like, okay, their vibe matches our vibe. And there was not a lot of bad differences. It's good to have differences, but I didn't see a lot of like bad differences where like production halted. And then the real test again was the 48, which I think went swimmingly, like considering how bad it could have gone. So I'm happy to see that our gears are working and meshing.
And also there was a decent amount of overlap in our teams already of just like people kind of work on both projects. Like, I mean, there Sam, I mean, she's done multiple different roles, but yeah, like
Shout out Sam Nork.
Yeah, I mean, she ended up doing like incredible audio on Spider-Man just because she kind of had to pick that up. But because I mean, David was on that shoot too. Unfortunately, he got sick.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's been really cool to see how we're kind of working out how this is gonna work out. I guess like between us, like we kind of decided we're like, well, we can do like. Maybe if it's like a Stargazer-centric, you know, in association with Zenith, or like, and there'll be projects where it's like, oh, just Zenith is gonna do it because maybe we're busy, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like the openness we're having and that we're not like under like strict guidelines and contracts. And for now, it seems to be waiting to have that open trust and communication, you know, between two, because I've never done this with another film company or anything like that before, but it seems to be working out just fine.
we're happy to have you, though.
Seriously, it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that brings us into a couple of the projects that you have worked on, Stargazer. I mean, we talked about Spider-Man, but then there's also Distortions, and and then the 48 that we just did. But let's start with Distortions.
Yeah.
What was kind of your experience working on a Stargazer set your first time?
I just remember being extremely tired and just wanting everything to just die.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. No, it was just very exhausting.
Yes, yes, it was.
No, that was that the film roulette, or was that the 48 itself?
No, that was just for fun.
Was it? I thought it was.
It was originally for a film festival until like we were getting more into production. I was like, no way are these visual effects getting done in time.
Oh, okay.
So there's a reason why it probably seemed rushed and tiresome, and that's because I did what Marguerite does sometimes, and I was like, no, I'm on this other feature film I'm first ADing and taking up all my time with 24 hours. I can totally fit in the horror film that we originally wanted to do. Totally. Yeah. And then we crammed it in. And
not to mention that we literally shot the thing during quarantine.
Correct.
But I think we did a good job of like keeping things safe, wearing masks.
Yes. So that's what I was gonna go to. That's what I'm saying. We were excellent. We were on top of it. Everyone on set was respectful with quarantine and like, or not quarantine, but like with safe distance and mask wearing. I think everyone was very respectful. And I also think that despite the struggles of it being crammed and rushed and that feeling, we got some great stuff out of it.
100%.
And I think that just also was a testament to how well we all worked together. My first introduction to you was you were gaffing, I think. Or
I was
gripping,
gaffing. I was gaffing, and I was first day seeing, which that was something I was really appreciative of, just to get to be able to just sit down and focus on just lights for the first time, and I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So I actually got to learn a ridiculous amount just from trial and error from that film alone. Especially like a lot of the night for day stuff we did, I think
that was fun.
That was fun. I had a lot of fun doing that specifically, and I don't know why. Or sitting there and pretending to be a lamppost. That was entertaining.
Yeah.
It's interesting that some of the best lighting and some of the best looking stuff in that film is like the hallway sequence with the monster and then the stuff in the basement. And that was like the stuff that we had to do the fastest. Like we had like when Joe is like in the monster outfit with all the visual effects, like
so good.
To do a visual effects sequence and literally only have like couple hours tops.
Yeah.
It was strict hard outs that we were dealing with.
I think we didn't end up leaving until I think it was like 2-3 a.m. each night.
Probably both nights. And then I think it was like the final day. I don't know if you were there with us in the basement that you're talking about. It was like an 8 p.m. hard out or something, and you guys knocked it out.
I wasn't there, and I don't remember what the reason was. I think I had to work that day or something.
Yeah, we were all. That's the other thing. We were all juggling with different schedules, and I had brought on Caitlin and Coral to do like a trial. I was like, oh, this will be a fun, first AD thing for you to do. It'll be fine. No, there's never any easy, fun first AD gig. I thought
there's no such thing as being a fun first AD.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh no, Caitlin, this is a great taste tester for you, but she did a great job with what I was giving her. She did a great job trying to juggle it and handle it, and her and Autumn knocked it out by being like really good assistants to the AD or director or whatever. So that was really nice. And I will say, as far as it's concerned, I think my favorite shots, I like those shots too. I love the night to morning dissolve. I love that. That shot when it goes on the clock night to morning.
Yeah.
My favorite thing.
That one, you and I were like sitting there, we were really working on.
Yeah.
It shows.
We probably, like, that shot probably actually took us, because it was like the last shot that we did too. So we were like, but we just got to get this right.
Yeah.
It has to work.
Yes.
Yeah. But if we sat there, I think we dialed it in for like a solid like hour straight as everyone was just packing up and leaving. You and I were just sitting there like, no, we're getting this.
Yes.
Especially like messing with the clock constantly to, keep with the continuity. That was a freaking nightmare.
Oh, yeah. We had to keep. Oh, and Joe was such a trooper for letting us
God
use his
bless
house.
Joe.
Joe, thank you, man. Like,
Congratulations on your marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Joe just got married. I just stood up in his wedding.
Yes, you did. Like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
No, wait, that was yesterday.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
Time.
gosh.
It felt like it was like a week ago.
Yeah. That's another story, because like I stood up in somebody's wedding and we had the award ceremony in one night. And Joe was so nice, because he was like, yeah, you can go to your award ceremony, man. Like, because I mean, it was after he finished his formal dances, and
It was just kind of a party time.
and he was, and I was able to get there just in time for us to go up there, and and we won second place. Definitely check out the short film Dinner and Dragons on the YouTube channel right now.
It's our 48-hour film project that just wrapped. We had the award ceremony for the 48, and we won second place.
Yeah, the title's not a bluff. There's an actual freaking dragon.
Yeah, exactly. There's both dinners and dragons, so.
It's kind of funny about that, because I had somebody ask me, like, so are the dragons having dinner?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, that would be fun.
If we had the food film genre, we could have done that.
Oh, bad. But
If only.
but this is a good transition into, because before we were talking about being an AD for a first time.
Yeah.
That was your first time being an AD for us.
Oh,
for us.
For us. For
Yeah, okay. I thought
Stargazer.
you were about to say in general. I was like, no.
No, you've been an AD before, but
It's been a long freaking time. But yes, I have.
You don't have to be nice. Tell us, how was that experience being a 48 first AD for Stargazer?
I'm still sitting here, aren't I?
Yeah, ooh, that's a good point. Good point.
No, just like doing the gaffing, it was good to finally be able to sit down and focus on just this one specific aspect that it gives you a whole new respect for like what my own ADs do for me. So my thought process going behind it was treat you how I would want people to treat me, and that just be on top of you like just like a fly on shit.
Yep.
So for people who don't necessarily know what an AD is, can you kind of describe what you did on set?
So a first AD or first assistant director, the immediate thought to that is going to be, you're like just the immediate assistant, like, oh, the director needs a water, you go get a water from him. No, you are essentially I describe it as being like the office manager of a set.
Yeah.
So like, here's the director, having to do all the business, the creative stuff. And then you have the first AD who is sitting there, getting all those wheels turning, making sure people are where they need to be, being the voice of a set, and basically being the hands that are touching everything, so the director doesn't have to worry about all that stuff. They can just focus on the creative aspects, forget about everything, and just let this individual person handle it. And they scream at people a lot.
Logistics oriented.
Very.
And that makes you scream at a lot of people, which is funny that you say that, because I know we had this conversation where you're like, yeah, because you're used to directing, I'm used to first ADing. So I think that's why we didn't butt heads so much, because I couldn't quite blame you when you were like, we gotta move on, because I have first AD mindset usually, even though I was directing. So I was like, I know you're doing your job, but like one more. So it was like, I understood where you're coming from. So I wasn't like, because I know in the past, first ADs can be seen as, like, I've been told, like, oh, you just don't care about my project. You don't care about my vision. I'm like, no, I do care. That's why I want us to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's I think the main purpose of a first AD is to make sure that shit gets done.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, Marguerite. You almost sound like you're going to get sing-songy for a second there. Like you're going to go, I know. It's off to film we go.
Anything to keep me sane at this point, yes.
So I'd like you to both go into, like, one, what you think that we did right and what you felt great about, but also go ahead and kind of dig into us a little bit.
Yeah.
What are a couple things that you think people could learn, and like just in general, like that you learned from the experience?
And just so you know, we haven't talked about this yet, so this is live.
So my first biggest compliment is you guys do definitely have a lot of synergy. You can tell that you've been doing this for a while. What I really liked especially is that most of our crews, again, did mesh well. In terms of, Quiet and Autumn and Derek and Chappie and Don, and everybody came together and we really just like knew what we were doing, and we didn't need much of that communication in order to just get to, just all get friendly, get on the same page, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that was one big thing I liked. I'd say the thing I did not like the most was, how do I put this? There seemed to be a lack of communication to crew in terms of what to specifically do. One big thing that kept coming up to my mind that I kept trying to like drag you off to the side about, specifically was with art department, makeup. Autumn kept saying like, I kept asking, hey Autumn, what, where are we at with everything? Well, I don't know because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I was like, okay, let's go fix that, Marguerite. Yeah. And I kept trying to pull you to the side and be like, hey, everything is halted until this gets figured out. But you were so focused on other things. I was like, no, come on. I felt, it almost kind of felt like, to put this in a weird analogy, it felt like trying to pull a dog on a leash that kept wanting to go all the way to the place. Right. I'd say those are my two biggest banes and boons. I fucking loved that location. Oh my god.
Yeah,
the location was fantastic.
Oh my god. Bears are my favorite animals. Seeing just the giant bear totem, just like, oh, I want it. Oh, I want it.
Yeah, so that was the location where it was my brother and sister-in-law's house. They have a beautiful property.
Oh my god.
Lovingly let us use
house.
it. And we had also big shout out to the fact that I want a set dog on every set, because that dog was therapy dog for some of us sometimes.
I'll bring a kitten every time.
Right, we'd be stressed out and then we'd be like, oh, Poppins! We'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And then she'd come in and we'd be like, aw, and like everyone would be happy again.
Yeah.
It was great.
I want to chime in kind of what you were saying though. I think that's also a testament to how good you were as an AD though, because that's exactly like what I believe an AD really brings to a film set, is looking at, okay, who doesn't know exactly what they need to do, or where are like, because the director, I think like as a director, Margaret, you were definitely doing your job, which is making sure that the creative vision is going, and you really have to kind of focus on your like inner team, which is like me, your cinematographer, then you have like the you're mainly working with the actors, and you have like this inner circle. But I think where the AD comes in is they are the liaison between the inner circle and the rest of the crew.
So like I knew, that's why I trusted you to be first AD, because I'm like, I feel like Justin's the kind of mind that will pick up those details and also see them as important and care about them. You care.
Yeah,
so.
And that's something I do try to do a lot with when I am the director myself, and that's, you've probably seen, I am so stretched thin whenever I direct, because I am so involved and hands-on in every single individual department to a borderline detriment, to the point where I was at, when we did Wait for My Call, I explicitly told Evan, I was like, dude, be ready to reel me in, be ready to wrangle me hard. And one thing I found funny is, I think it was Quiet that actually told me that, and they didn't tell me this personally, but they're like, yeah, we were like, he told us, but we were not anticipating him to be like that all over the place. My God. So just being able to just, flip to the other side of that, and just specifically being able to, not have to worry about the creative part and just be able to drop that all together and do everything else. I think that's kind of where I feel like where the experience kind of helped a lot.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I think you killed it.
Admittedly, I will say that, in my personal opinion, the best kinds of first ADs are the ones that you never see.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Because if you never have to see them, it means that nobody else is bothering you. Yeah. It means that the job is being done.
True, and you're out of earshot of the director, so the director can be like laser focused.
Which is ultimately what you want, or
exactly.
for the DP.
Right.
Another big thing I would say was a big detriment. I'm gonna narrow this one on you, and you know what I'm about to say is. just timing of everything and picking up your feet. Because I absolutely adore how focused you are on what you do, but you take too long to get to that point. Like your end product is phenomenal, no complaints. It's just the pathway leading up. You take like 6 different paths to ultimately come to this one. It's like at the end of the day, all 6 paths lead to the exact same spot.
Yeah.
That's also kind of the way I work, though. It's a little on this one. I definitely learned a lot from this 48, and it was a different experience and probably a necessary experience in my life. Like working with you, because on the first one, maybe it also is because it was kind of my idea when we did Rich and Zappy. It was like I came in as like it was definitely your vision and your approach to it, but it also like I came in as like it was a lot easier for me to shot list and have stuff because like I know what this is and what the end product is when it's done. This one I read the script, and I'll be completely honest, when I read the script I was like, this is a lot of moving pieces, and I don't know how the hell this is gonna work. And I'm sorry, Marguerite, but I had a moment where I did like wonder, like I'm like, does Marguerite know how this all ties together? And you did.
Yeah.
I was kind of with him on that for a point, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to just trust her and just I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah, I think everyone was kind of confused. And it was hard for me too. It was a big learning experience because it was the first time that I felt alone in the creative, and I wouldn't have if Dylan was there. Dylan, amazing writer, couldn't make it on set. And honestly, I'll say this, if Dylan ever watches this, he was the driving force in the back of my mind because I trust his writing and I trust what we came up with the night before. It was just him and I. So I told myself it's no one's fault that they are doubting. It's no one's fault. It looks crazy, sounds crazy. There's a lot going on. I told Andrew, I was like, you better tell me right now. To remember when I pulled you aside, I was like, we need to have this conversation and you need to be upfront and open with me because even if it's a negative, I want to know because you might be seeing something that I'm not, and you did. You ended up helping form the end product of the. So anyway, Dylan was on my mind the whole time. I said, I believe in what we had. I believe in us. Dylan's the only one I have. He's not here. And like, I never had to have that much of a trust exercise on me before.
And I will give you credit also because like, my first thing, because when you pulled me aside, you were like, I need your honest opinion. Yeah. How do you feel about this? And my first thing was like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm a little confused. And and then you're like, but I need you to have confidence in this. Yeah. What do you need to have confidence in? And it was like the one thing that I really felt like I actually did kind of bring to is when I was like, well, like the one thing that I felt like if we had, because we set up like these people on the tire, if we have the dragon, like if they were like coming at the dragon, we have the bards over here, and it's like everyone, as long as everyone gets their moment, and as long as like it kind of ties itself together, because you were wonderful in that, like you had the heart in there. You had like the main 2 characters that's like, it's like even though it is kind of wacky, there's still like there's heart between the characters, and that's important. But it's just like that final like, okay, how it ties together. And then you trusted me also in the way of filming it, like because I was like, okay, I want to get a shot of her like grabbing the hoe, and this is how I want to shoot this. Yeah. Here's how I want it to look, and even like me in the drone shot, you're like, okay, I trust your vision of like how this is gonna look and cut together. Yeah. But I give you so much credit because at the end of the day, you did know what it was gonna look like when it was done. I
knew what I wanted. And that's why I'm like, I know where I want it to go, but you were the one who was like, here's how we're gonna bring it, My
other thing was, well, I'll tell you this right now, complete honesty, I never read the script. still.
I mean, it also, complete honesty, we didn't get to anyone's hands until noon on Saturday, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, like that was my biggest thing is like I wanted to read it. I wanted to just take 5 minutes to just sit down and read it, but I had no fucking time.
Yeah, when I first showed up to set, like I was like, I call up Dylan, I'm like, so I'm not sure you're gonna like this, but here's my notes. I had like a bunch of notes, and then we went off to the side, and I think it was very important that like you and Dylan kind of had that powwow.
Oh yeah.
There was a point where I was like, okay, I need to remove myself from this
I respect that.
because I don't know if we would have got the final product that we would have because even Dylan said, like Rich and Zappy, when we did that, he was like, yeah, if you would have pitched me that idea, I would have shut that down completely. And this was the sort of idea that's like when it was finished and done, I'm like, okay, this works. I like it. But I didn't hit that moment really until we watched the final version. I'm like, the sound design works, the music works, the visual effects works. Like you kept saying like, Andrew, what do you think? I'm like, Marguerite, I trust you. I trust you. You
Which is an
believe in
amazing
this.
thing to
I
say.
trust you.
It's and again, I respect that so much, and I think that's why I was like, okay, cool. But then we started filming, and then I started seeing your face because you can't hide your facial expressions for nothing. And so then I was like, okay, no, we need to have another conversation, which is, and then yeah. So anyway, it all turned out fine. But I wanted to ask you this. So you didn't see it until like we were watching it after it turned in.
Yeah, I was, well, even when we were in color correction, like I was like, I mean, I'll just say it like what I said. You're like, okay, if I want this to be color graded this way because it's gonna like, it'll be funny, it'll kind of like have this contrast. And you're like, what do you think, Andrew? I'm like, it looks like an Instagram filter. That was my opinion, and I will say, after seeing the final product, I think I pulled you aside. I'm like, Marguerite, I take back everything I said.
I'm standing right there. I can confirm this.
I take back everything I said. I'm glad that I just trusted.
I want to ask you now, where was the point, if a point, where you were like, oh, I get it, if you did?
The moment we watched it. Not a single moment before that. Like I said, I never read the script. I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, okay, what do you need? Fantastic. I'll get that done. I don't give a shit past that. Whatever it turns out to be, I'll watch it after 48 hours is done. Let's go with that route. Which I'm really, really, really glad that, because originally I wasn't going to be there on Sunday. And I was just, and then I forget why I was just like, hey, do you guys want me to come help out for 5 seconds? You're like, yes!
Yes, we were like, please, dear God, we're gonna rip each other's heads off right now.
I think part of the reason why I decided to come down, I was just like, I feel like you needed a
liaison?
Not a liaison. I feel like you needed a punching bag.
That's the thing. So I am very low key as a director, but when it comes to editing, so I think of things, and I think there's a lot of debate between directors and editors and how they go hand in hand. But I started as an editor. So the reason why this film probably didn't make sense is because I already knew how it was going to be edited in my head. And I knew it. I'm like, I know the sound design. I know where this is going to go. I know where this is going to go. I know where this is going to go, which is why it made sense in my head. So that's when I do admit I have to work on editing in post because I get the most testy in post. I get very, very stressed out because I'm like, why didn't you do this exactly to the minute detail I wanted it? You know what I'm saying?
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Me
you
too.
know this.
Oh yeah, like when I directed Abductions, like it's like everything was like I know and it was storyboard too, but like I spend I also have worked on like projects other than Stargazer too, where anything that I'm going to like be involved both visually, directing wise, and in the edit, like I edit before I show up on set.
Right.
The film is made.
Yep.
It's done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why, God bless Stephanie for flying in and doing the storyboards for Wait for My Call, especially because like I always tell people, this is the first time I actually worked with a storyboard artist, and I will never not do it again. Everyone kept saying like, look at the shot list and look at the script and do all this and that. I was like, okay, yes, that's fine. but don't look at this. You want the exact knowing of like what I'm trying to do here. Look at that. I feel like probably helped a lot in terms of just trying to remember what my own vision was.
No, 100%. And I think that's another reason why us three flow so well is because you are used to being the jack of all trades. You're used to being editor, mindset, director, everything. So it's a relief to have a third, and I'm sure it's a relief to have two others. Yeah,
I think that's something that you could say about all three of us is that we all kind of are a jack of all trades. We all maybe there's like certain things that we differ. Like I kind of can fall into the more visual effects, and I stay in the visual realm. And I honestly, I think you're better at working with actors.
You're phenomenal. I know, seriously. No, we all have our strengths, and that's important. Because I think you're very good at handling actors.
Yeah, I think your post-production skills are really good. Just overall knowing like what you want as a vision is really good.
Tone. I think you're very good at establishing tone.
Yes.
One last thing I want to just say about like this year's 48 experience is, I mean, so taking a break, what actually ended up being a good thing about me taking a break, because I was like, I don't want to take a break.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to push through this.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, I know. I forced you. Anybody, and that was you weren't the only one. It was Chapman and Miranda and Donnie and everybody who kept saying it's like, no, I'm feeling like a lot of heat exhaustion. And everyone kept saying like, we're just going to push through. I've sat every single one of them down individually, and I looked him square in the eye and said, you do not come back out there. This is not optional. Yeah. This is not, if you feel better, no. You are keeping your ass planted. Yep. It is hot as hell. You're going to end up with heat stroke. You were the exact same way.
Yeah. The thing of it is if I wouldn't have went back, because when I went back, first Dustin was having trouble because, he was our DIT on the project. But then also I got a call from Kevin, and he had a bunch of questions. And Kevin was our visual effects guy. He did
Amazing.
He's also the, I'll just throw it out there, also the guy doing our visual effects on our upcoming Pokemon thing and a few other projects that we're doing.
And we'll have more StarCast episodes with that closer to the day.
Talking about kind of like how those are going to go. Yeah. But point being, so I talked to Kevin about the dragon and like answered his questions, and I got him his 3D environments and stuff. I was able to work with him, and if that didn't have happened, it would have also slowed down the entire thing. So I was able to kind of work on a lot of the post-production stuff and get that done. And really, I was only gone for 30 minutes?
About closer to an hour, which is good. Because, I think we didn't turn that thing until 2 minutes till?
7:28 and a half.
7:28 and a half.
Yep, minute 30 left.
Yeah, we were even more close to the time than we were when we did Rich and Zappy last year.
Yes.
But the theme of it is no squeaks this time, because last time we had there was a couple little audio hiccups there, but no, it really felt like what we made. Like no matter what you say about it, it feels like a polished finish.
It's cohesive. But yeah, that's one of the best things that we've done so far together. I know that it's only going to get better from here.
Which I will say, this was one of my, probably not my favorite 48 to run with. I'd say my two favorites have so far been this one, and then my the one I actually did a couple months ago with ASI Productions and Sarah Root, which was Psychics Anonymous. That one actually went disturbingly smooth.
Really?
You worked on that?
Yeah, I was the DP on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I gotta check that out.
I'll have to watch that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was the DP on that.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. That's the thing is, if there's anything like kind of to take from this thing is not having groups be against each other. Yeah. That like people, like you have kind of your things that you're doing, we have our things that we're doing with Stargazer, but the theme is we welcome you onto our team and you welcome us to work with you. And there's, I love it. I love that, like
cohesiveness, teamwork,
synergy
makes the dream work. Yeah.
All these buzzwords.
Yeah, exactly. We love synergy.
All the corporate buzzwords.
There you go.
Making the kids want to buy our products. But so I mean, it's been wonderful. Like we're excited to work with you on like the next projects that we're going to do. I'm sure you're excited to like have us, and I mean we're already working on a project with you So,
Multiple. That's another thing we are learning for maybe a different StarCast, how to not overwork yourself and agree to too many projects at once.
Yeah, definitely an upcoming StarCast is all going to be about filmmaker. I don't believe in work-life balance, but that being said, there's definitely ways to de-stress yourself a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm excited. We're gonna wrap up Spider-Man here soon. Ideally, we're gonna wrap up. We're putting out Into the Universe. We are wrapping up the production on that. We're gonna go into some cool Pokemon stuff, some Star Wars stuff, some Power Rangers stuff.
Yes. And Marguerite here is actually going to be directing it. So, as some people know, about a year ago at the beginning, about a year and a half ago at the beginning of COVID, my team and I were originally going to do a adaptation of a Super Sentai series. So Super Sentai is a series they bring over and make into Power Rangers. We were originally going to do a series called Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger, and we were going to call it Power Rangers Underworld. That unfortunately crashed and burned because we bit off way too much more than we can chew. Plus COVID. I mostly blame COVID, even though it was not. Realistically, it was mostly my own fault, but I will blame COVID anyway.
Right, and I told you, I was like, I've been a big nerd of choreography. I have a dance background. I love choreography, and I love things like the Baby Driver, the Inuyutus, the Birdmans, So I just want one. I just want to try it out. Just one big nice,
action
beautiful action shot. I think So I think that's gonna be the second thing of yours I work on, because the first one was Right for My Call.
Yes.
And that was exciting. So that was the ZenithFilms project, led also by the wonderful Emily. Amazing Emily. Amazing producer, which...
Wonderful job.
Right. I should tell Emily this sometime, but Emily, I stole some pointers from you. I'm going to tell you this in person one day because I was inspired by some of the things you did on set. So... kudos to her. She did an amazing job. Very professional, wonderful human being. They're going to kill it in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Funny enough, she actually was... I originally just brought her on as a line producer, and then she was doing so much, extra stuff. I was just like, do you just want to be a producer on this? You're basically doing it anyway. She's like, hell yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well, did I actually ever tell you that the reason why I made Wait for My Call is partly because of distortions?
No way.
No, it was we made distortions, and I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, like, I really, really want to make a horror. And then I got onto something else with Sarah Root and Ace High, and that just kind of really solidified it. I was like, I really, really want to do a horror. I don't know why. I just really want to do a horror. And I was sitting there, I was racking my brain on it for a while, and I finally came up with the idea, and I was like, this is what we're doing. And you actually were a very last minute addition.
Yeah.
Which I am very glad that I did.
Yeah, that was a whole shuffle. That was
a really big shuffle of crew.
But it worked out in the end. But I think that kind of wraps up everything we had to talk about today. There's going to be so many more StarCasts. I mean, this is just the beginning, honestly.
Yeah.
That's why the whole point of this episode is just the beginning, just the introductions of a long partnership.
Yeah, between us and making awesome stuff together.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being an addition to our team and to come out and shoot this with us.
I didn't have much of a choice.
That's true. You're under contract secretly
Really
by blackmail, is what
Mostly
I'm saying.
blackmail.
Mostly, yeah.
Like, there's literally no path for me to leave here. It's either I had to do this or I was not going to be able to leave.
Yeah, you guys can't see it, but just believe us.
Yeah, there's no pathway. There's nothing but cameras.
You're here now. But anyway, thank you so much, Justin.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for working with us.
Aw.
Thanks.
Heck yeah. All right, and as for all of you, thank you for watching once again. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell, do all that crazy stuff, and also leave us a comment below. Anything that we talked about today that struck you or you can relate to or anything like that, we love to hear from you. Start a discussion in the comments. And if you haven't already, go watch Dinner and Dragons. We just released it the other day. It's fantastic. 1 second place. We're very proud of it. Also, let us know how you think about that.
Actually, it came up the afternoon that this was being filmed too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So we just released it. It's very exciting. But I think that's all we've got for you. So goodbye.
See you, everybody.
Have a good day.